most of it.
Okay, it's recording, so you just start whenever. Just edit it.
Owie. Okay. Well, when I was younger, I don't remember how old I was. I was like probably 10 or 11. And my mom took me to one of her friend's house, and her friend's son told me about the triangle game, which is a game where one person lies on the floor and they have to close their eyes, and then there's a guide that takes their finger and draws the shape of a triangle on their forehead while chanting triangle. And you do it, there's no set amount of times that you do it, it's just sort of when the guide feels that it's done. And then you kind of stop, and then you ask them, where are you? And you guide them through what they're imagining, because it's an imagination game. And the thing is, if you run into the Shadow Man, you have to wake up, otherwise he's going to kill you. And there's been different versions of it where sometimes he's wearing like a cowboy hat. He's been seen carrying a noose, a gun, a knife, or just standing there. And then there is the shadow dog, which is your friend. The dog will growl if the Shadow Man is nearby, like in the same building that you're in. He'll start barking and going crazy if he's really, really close. And according to the kid who taught me the game, apparently one of his friends' friends died because he didn't wake up when he saw the Shadow Man. I played this game countless times throughout my childhood and my teenage years. I loved it. It was an imagination game. You know, we didn't care. My best friend and I played it like 20 times a night when we had summer parties. It wasn't until 2004 when I had a really bad encounter. I was a volunteer counselor at NMFC up in Hope, and we were having a lock-in before going to Cedar Point the next day. And I decided I was going to play the game with everybody. So we sent one girl in, and she was just kind of she didn't believe it, she didn't have an imagination. She was just like, oh, purple gay killer monkeys are chasing me with hula skirts. You know, just making fun of the whole thing. And then my friend Teresa wanted to go in, and she believed more of it. And she started out in the building, and then the dog was there, but he wasn't growling, but he was acting like he wanted her to follow him. So she followed him outside and into a forest. And she's explaining it to me. I was the guide. And then the dog started pawing at the ground like he was digging, and so I told her, dig with him. See, you know, what he's trying to show you. And she ended up uncovering a treasure chest that was full of like money and jewels and stuff. And then the dog starts going ballistic, growling, snarling, barking its head off. And she starts looking around. She can't see anybody. She says, it's going nuts, but I don't see anyone. And I'm like, just get out of there. Just wait, you know, open your eyes, come back. And she's like, no, I want to see him. And I'm like, no, seriously, if the dog's going nuts, don't look for him. And she's walking around the woods, she's looking for him, and she can't find him anywheres. And I stop, and I go, you're in a forest. Look up. She screamed at the top of her lungs and woke up. And at that moment, when she opened her eyes, I kid you not, there was this like unearthly presence that had filled the room that we were in. Everyone screamed, even the guys, and we took off out of that room and would not go back in there for like an hour. And what made it even worse was when we looked out the window across the parking lot, near the pavilion, we saw this guy standing there in all black. And then we kind of looked at each other and looked back, and he was gone.
I'm scared.